No human had ever stood before the crystal throne of. Not in history, not in legends, not in dreams. Yet today, one human was there. His name was Cole, and he was terrified. Stood inside a massive hall made of shining blue crystal. The walls glowed softly like frozen light. Above him, stars were visible through the transparent ceiling. It felt like he was standing inside the universe itself. On both sides, tall alien guards stood still, holding glowing weapons. Their eyes followed his every move. His hands were shaking. He adjusted his simple gray jacket and took a deep breath. "I'm just a mechanic," he whispered to himself. "Why am I here?" He had no answer. Was not famous. He was not rich. He was not powerful. He was just a human engineer who fixed broken ships and repaired damaged machines. 2 months ago, he had arrived on Prime with a group of humans sent for cooperation work. His job was to help keep the station running. That was all. Or so he thought. Everything had changed because of one moment. One choice. One act of courage. It happened in Dock 7. A reactor had failed. Sirens screamed, red lights flashed everywhere, smoke filled the air, people ran in fear. The station was about to explode. Security teams tried to control the fire, but it spread too fast. Inside the burning chamber, someone was trapped. Princess, the daughter of the sovereign, future ruler of. She was pinned under heavy metal. Her silver skin was burned. Her glowing wings were torn. She was unconscious. No one could reach her in time. Except, when heard that the princess was inside, he didn't think. He didn't stop. He didn't run away. He ran toward the fire. Flames burned his clothes. Smoke filled his lungs. His eyes watered. His body screamed for him to stop. But he didn't. He pushed away broken metal with bleeding hands. He lifted debris that was heavier than he ever had before. His muscles tore. His bones felt like they would break. But finally, he freed her. He picked her up in his arms. She was light, fragile, warm. He held her close and ran. Behind him, the reactor exploded. Fire rushed through the corridor. They barely escaped. Many believed he would die that day. But he didn't. And because of him, the princess lived. After that day, everything changed. People whispered when he walked past, "That's him, the human who saved her. The brave one." Some called him a hero. Some called him foolish. Some called him blessed. Ignored them all. He went back to his workshop. Back to tools. Back to wires. Back to silence. He never tried to meet the princess. He never asked for thanks. He believed he had only done what was right. Nothing more. Until today. The massive doors of the Hall of Sovereigns opened slowly. Golden light flooded inside. Soft music filled the air. His breath caught in his throat. Inside, thousands of alien nobles sat in perfect rows. Their clothes shimmered like living stars. Their eyes were sharp and curious. At the center stood the crystal throne, and upon it sat Sovereign, the ruler of 17 star systems, the conqueror of worlds, the father of Princess. His body was tall and powerful. His skin looked like dark metal. His glowing eyes burned with ancient wisdom. A floating crown of light circled his head. One look at him could make armies kneel. His legs felt weak. A deep voice echoed through the hall. "Approach, human Cole." The voice was calm, but it shook his heart. Walked forward, step by step. Every eye followed him. Every breath felt heavy. He reached the throne and knelt. His head bowed. His heart raced like a drum. Silence filled the hall. Seconds passed, then minutes. Finally, the sovereign spoke. Human lifted his head slowly. Yes, your majesty. The ruler stared at him, studied him, measured him. Then he asked a question that would change life forever. Are you ready to marry my daughter? The hall exploded in shock. Nobles gasped. Guards froze. Advisors whispered in panic. His mind went blank. His mouth opened. No words came out. What? He whispered. He thought he had imagined it. He hadn't. The most powerful ruler in space had just asked him, a simple human mechanic, to become the husband of a princess. Behind glowing curtains, unseen by others. Princess watched, her heart beating fast, her hands trembling, her eyes filled with hope. Legs shook as he knelt before Sovereign. The hall was silent, but the silence was heavy. It pressed on his chest like 1,000 stones. His mind spun faster than the stars outside the crystal ceiling. Marry the princess? His life had been ordinary. He repaired ships, fixed engines, and kept quiet. He never imagined power, fame, or royalty. And now the most powerful being in the galaxy asked him to do something unimaginable. I stammered. His voice barely left his throat. Your Majesty, I am honored, but I am just a human. I have no status. I have no... Silence. The sovereign's voice cut through the hall like thunder. This is not about rank or wealth. This is about courage. This is about honor. You risked your life for my daughter. That courage matters more than any crown or title. Swallowed hard, he remembered the smoke, the fire, the heat of the reactor. He remembered holding in his arms as the world burned behind them. Courage? He had only done what he could not ignore. He had not thought of himself at all. The sovereign continued, his glowing eyes locked on. Courage is rare among your kind. Humans are fragile yet stubborn, brave yet reckless. She has chosen to trust you, and I trust your heart. Froze. Trust from the sovereign of 17 systems, from the father of a princess. It was more than he had ever imagined. Then a soft murmur rippled through the hall, glanced toward the glowing curtains at the far end. Princess stood there, her silver skin glinting in the golden light. Her wings shimmered faintly, still healing from the injuries he had saved her from. She smiled, a small, nervous smile, but it was real. It reached her eyes and felt something stir deep inside him, a warmth he had never felt before. You, he whispered, not sure if he was speaking to her or to himself. You want this with me. Stepped forward, her eyes never leaving his. She did not speak, but her gaze said everything. She trusted him. She believed in him. She had chosen him. His chest tightened. Fear and honor warred inside him. He thought of the galaxies he had never visited, the worlds he had never dreamed of seeing, and the future that was now being offered to him. Your Majesty, he said, turning back to the sovereign, I am willing to serve, and I will protect your daughter with my life. If that is enough, I accept. The hall went completely silent. For a moment, it felt like the universe itself was holding its breath. Then, slowly, the sovereign nodded. Good, he said. Let it be known, Cole the human shall stand by my daughter's side. You shall honor your promise, and she shall honor hers. Together you will carry the future of. Sneeze almost buckled. He felt both fear and pride swirling together like a storm. His life had changed forever in a single moment. After the formal words, the sovereign gestured, and the doors at the far end opened wider. Could see the princess now, walking toward him, her steps careful but determined. Every step she took made his heart race. She said softly, her voice trembling just slightly, I am glad it is you. I have wanted to meet you again to thank you, but I never imagined it would be like this. He shook his head, trying to find the right words. Nothing seemed enough. I only did what I had to do. You didn't deserve. She smiled and placed a delicate hand on his arm. Her touch was soft but full of strength. I know, and that is why I chose you. You are human yet fearless, ordinary yet extraordinary, brave in ways no one else could ever be. felt a lump rise in his throat. Her words, her trust, her hope, they overwhelmed him. He had never felt so small and so powerful at the same time. And then something inside him shifted. He realized that fear could not control him, the future could not intimidate him. There was only one thing that mattered: he would protect her, he would honor her. Straightened, his voice stronger now. "Princess, I promise, I will not fail you, I will stand by you always." Her eyes sparkled with tears, and for the first time felt the weight of destiny not as a burden, but as a gift. The sovereign watched silently, his expression unreadable, but his eyes glimmered faintly with approval. The hall, once filled with tension, now seemed lighter. A new chapter had begun. And for an ordinary human who had only wanted to survive and fix broken machines, the universe had opened wide, offering him something beyond imagination. Courage, trust, and love. The hall finally emptied, leaving and Princess alone with the sovereign. The golden light softened, but the weight of the moment pressed heavily on shoulders. He had agreed. He had accepted the impossible. Yet now, standing there, reality hit him like a starship crashing into a planet. He was going to marry a princess. Not just any princess, the daughter of the most powerful being in 17 star systems. His mind raced. Could he live up to this? Could he protect her? Could he ever truly belong in a world of kings, conquerors, and aliens far older and wiser than him? He looked at her. Eyes were gentle, but her gaze held expectation. She believed in him, she trusted him. And that terrified him even more. Sovereign's voice broke the silence. "You may leave, princess, remain." Hesitated, her hand brushed his arm, a silent question in her touch. He gave a small nod, telling her to go. She slowly backed away, her wings catching the soft light as she disappeared behind the glowing curtains. His heart ached. He wanted to follow her, to hold her, but he knew the sovereign wanted to speak with him alone. "You are brave," said, his eyes burning with intensity. "But courage alone does not make a husband for a princess. You will face challenges beyond your imagination. Allies may distrust you, enemies may target you, and your own kind, humans, your people, may never understand what you now carry." Swallowed, I understand, your majesty. I will do whatever is needed. I will protect." Studied him for a long moment. The sovereign's gaze was like a probe into his very soul, testing, judging, weighing. Finally, he said, "Good, but there is more you must know." He gestured, and a holographic screen appeared above the throne. Images of warships, glowing energy weapons, and distant worlds flashed rapidly. Then a map of the Empire appeared, highlighting regions under threat, rebellions, and hostile alien forces. "You are stepping into a world of politics. The galaxy is not kind to outsiders. Humans are fragile, your species is untested among us, but you are here now. You have been chosen by, that is a statement, that is power." His hands clenched, the weight of the words pressed down on him. He had thought marrying a princess would be like a story, romantic, filled with light and hope. But reality was vast, dangerous, and full of unseen enemies. I don't know if I'm ready for all that," he admitted, his voice quiet but steady. "But I know I can't leave her. I will face everything. I will not fail her." His glowing eyes softened for a brief moment. "Then your heart is where it should be. But know this, your choices now will affect millions. You will be tested, human, and sometimes love alone may not be enough to save her." Swallowed hard, his mind drifted back to the day he carried from the fire. He had been terrified then, too, but he had acted. He had survived, and she had survived. "Yes, your majesty," he said, straightening his shoulders. I will do everything to protect her. I don't care how dangerous it is. I don't care what I face. I will stand by her side." His gaze lingered. Then with a nod, he spoke again. "Good. Tomorrow you will meet her formally. You will learn her customs, her people, her responsibilities. You will be judged not just by me, but by her entire court. You must prove yourself worthy, not only as a protector, but as a partner." Nodded, fear twisted in his stomach, but determination burned in his chest. "I will not fail, your majesty," he said firmly. "I promise." The sovereign remained silent for a moment, then spoke softly, almost as if to himself. "Perhaps humans are not so fragile after all." Felt a strange warmth rise in his chest. Even the sovereign had doubts about him, but perhaps there was also respect. Perhaps he could belong here. After a few more moments, gestured, dismissing him, turned and walked toward the exit. As he passed the empty hall, he paused and looked back at the crystal throne. He could feel the eyes of the galaxy upon him, waiting to see if he would succeed or fail. His heart pounded. He was just a human, a simple engineer from Earth. But now he carried a weight far greater than anything he had ever imagined. And somewhere deep inside, he realized something. He was ready. Not because he had power or skill or wisdom, but because he could not imagine a world without her. Without the hope that had drawn him into this impossible destiny. Walked into the glowing corridor, his mind racing, his heart full, and his courage burning brighter than ever. Tomorrow would bring challenges, but tonight he would hold on to the promise he had made. And for the first time, he truly understood the meaning of honor, courage, and love, not as words, but as a life he was now ready to live. The next day woke before the sun rose over prime. The soft blue light of the station reflected off the walls of his small quarters. He sat on the edge of his bed, hands trembling slightly. Today he would meet formally. He would face her court, and he would be judged not only as her protector but as someone who might one day stand beside her for life. His stomach churned. The fear from yesterday still clung to him, but beneath it determination glowed like fire. He could not fail. He would not fail. When he entered the Hall of Judgment, felt the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him. The chamber was even larger than the Hall of the Sovereign. Crystal pillars rose high into the ceiling, glowing with soft golden light. Alien nobles filled the rows, each more intimidating than the last. They wore clothes that shimmered with colors could not name, their faces both curious and cold. And at the center of it all, Princess stood. Her silver skin glimmered softly, and her wings were folded neatly behind her. She looked at him with calm eyes, but could sense the weight of expectation she carried. He swallowed and stepped forward. An elder, tall and cloaked in robes of deep violet, spoke first. His voice echoed like a distant storm. "Cole, human, you saved our princess, yes, but can a fragile human live among us? Can you bear the burdens of royalty? Can you protect not only the princess but the people?" His hands clenched. "I may be human, yes," he said firmly, "but I am not weak. I have faced fire, explosions, and impossible odds. I will face anything to protect her. I do not fear the challenge, nor will I fail." The nobles murmured. Some exchanged skeptical glances. One whispered, "He is brave, but is he enough?" Stepped forward. "They may doubt you, but I do not. You have saved my life. You have shown courage that many of my people cannot match. That courage is why I trust you." Her words lifted his heart like a sunrise over a dark world. He felt warmth flood through him, and a small, confident smile appeared on his face. "Thank you, Princess," he said softly. "I will honor your trust. I will protect you and your people no matter what I face." The elder raised an eyebrow, his gaze piercing. "Bravery is not enough. You must understand our customs, our laws, our ways. Do you know our rituals? Do you understand the responsibilities of standing beside a princess?" Shook his head. "I do not know all of your customs, but I am willing to learn. I am willing to devote myself fully to understanding and protecting her, and to earning the right to stand by her side." A few nobles nodded, impressed by his honesty. Others looked unconvinced. His eyes softened. "You do not have to be perfect, you have to be willing to try. That is what matters. I know your heart, and that is enough for me." His chest swelled with emotion. Here, in this hall of strangers, with thousands of eyes upon him, he felt something he had never felt before. He belonged. But the challenge was not over. Suddenly, a young noble stepped forward. His eyes were cold, sharp, and cruel. "Human," he said, his voice dripping with disdain, "you claim courage, you claim loyalty, but can you face our enemies? Can you face the dangers that lurk beyond the stars? Can you face what the sovereign himself cannot fight?" His heart raced. He had expected whispers and doubt, but open hostility. He drew in a deep breath. "I may be human," he said firmly, "but I have faced death before. I have faced fire, explosions, and fear. And I will face it again as many times as I must to protect and her people. I do not seek glory. I only seek to keep her safe. That is my strength. That is my choice." The noble blinked, clearly taken aback. The hall grew quiet, even the elder seemed impressed. Stepped closer to and placed her hand lightly on his arm. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. "This is your courage, this is why I chose you, never doubt yourself." His lips curved into a small, determined smile. He felt a surge of warmth, like the sun breaking through storm clouds. He had faced fire before, he had faced doubt before, and now he faced judgment. And he had survived. As the nobles deliberated, realized something. This was more than just courage or strength. This was about heart, trust, and honor, and in that moment he understood one simple truth. No matter the challenge, no matter the danger, he would never let down. Because she had trusted him. Because he had chosen her. And that made him stronger than anyone else in the hall, left the hall of judgment with his heart still pounding. The nobles had spoken, whispered, and judged, but deep inside he felt something ignite. He had survived their scrutiny. He had stood tall. He had not failed. And yet outside the halls of crystal and gold, the real challenge awaited. It came that evening. The alarms blared across the station. Red light painted the walls. Stomach tightened. He had never faced an attack on this scale before. "Human, follow me," shouted a guard as they ran toward the docking bay. His legs pumped, fear and adrenaline mixing into a strange, electrifying energy. When he arrived, he saw them, pirates from the outer systems, their ships hovering dangerously close to the station. Energy weapons glowed bright, and their intentions were clear. This was not a raid. They wanted the princess. His mind raced. He had no army, no weapons, no experience in battle. He had only his courage, his wits, and the promise he had made. Then he remembered her face, trusting him, believing in him, and suddenly fear became something else, fuel. He ran toward the control room where Princess waited, calm but tense. Her wings flared slightly in the dim light, ready to take flight if necessary. She said, her voice steady despite the chaos, "They want to capture me. The station is vulnerable. What do we do?" He looked around at the blinking panels, the maps of the station, the blinking red alerts. He thought of every human trick he had ever used, every problem he had ever solved. "We fight smart," he said. "We use what we have, follow my lead and stay close to me." Nodded, her eyes softening with trust. She moved beside him, not behind him, not above him, beside him. The first wave of pirates boarded the station. Quickly organized the station's security drones. He their patrol routes to intercept intruders. He used energy barriers to block corridors and led the princess through hidden tunnels he had repaired months ago. The pirates were strong, fast, and well-armed, but's mind was faster. He calculated, predicted, and used every advantage the station offered. At one point, a pirate blocked their path. His weapon glowed red, ready to strike. Didn't hesitate. He grabbed a control panel nearby, sending a burst of energy that stunned the intruder. Its wings spread, and she moved with speed and grace, disarming another attacker with precise strikes. They were a team, human and princess, courage and skill. Finally, they reached the upper deck, where the station's main defense cannon was located. Quickly activated the weapon and aimed at the incoming pirate ships. His hands shook, but he focused. "Ready?" he asked. "Always," said her voice calm and steady. Together they fired. Bright beams of energy shot into space, hitting the enemy ships with precision. One by one, the intruders' ships were disabled or forced to retreat. The threat faded as quickly as it had appeared. When the alarms finally stopped, sank to his knees, sweat dripped down his face. His chest burned. He was exhausted, terrified, exhilarated. Approached him and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved the station, you saved me." Looked up at her, unable to speak. His fear and doubt melted away, replaced with something stronger, pride, relief, and love. I didn't know if I could," he admitted, "but I couldn't let anything happen to you." Her eyes softened and she smiled. "You never doubted yourself long enough to fail. That is what makes you extraordinary, not your strength, not your skill, but your heart." At that moment, realized something he had never truly understood before. Being a hero was not about power. It was not about skill. It was about courage in the face of fear, trust in the face of doubt, and love in the face of danger. And he had all three. As the station recovered from the attack and stood together on the upper deck looking out at the stars, they were safe for now, but knew more challenges would come. The galaxy was dangerous and he was only human. Yet for the first time he did not feel small, he did not feel weak, he felt alive, he felt ready. And with her by his side he could face anything. After the attack, the station was quiet again but could not shake the feeling of unease. His body ached from the battle, and his mind raced with thoughts he could not ignore. The battle was over, yes, but the real test, he realized, was just beginning. He and Princess had fought together, saved lives together, and survived together. But survival did not erase the distance between their worlds. He was human, ordinary, fragile, and inexperienced in royal matters. She was a princess, wise, powerful, and beloved by her people. Could they truly stand together beyond the battlefield? Later that evening found him in a quiet corner of the station. The stars reflected in her silver eyes and her wings glowed faintly in the soft light. She looked at him, her expression a mixture of hope and worry. She said softly, Do you ever wonder if us can really work? You are human, I am this. Different. My world is not yours, my life is not simple. Looked into her eyes and felt the weight of her words. He wanted to say something heroic, something strong. But the truth was, he did not know. All he knew was what he felt. I don't know, he admitted honestly. But I do know this, I cannot imagine a life without you, and I will try with everything I have to stand by you, to be worthy of your trust. Her lips trembled and a tear slid down her cheek. She looked away, ashamed of her vulnerability. I should not ask so much of you. You have already risked everything for me, for my life. Can you risk your heart too? Stepped closer and gently lifted her chin so she faced him. I do not think of it as a risk, he said, voice low and steady. I think of it as a choice, one I want to make every day. Yes, my world is small. Yes, I am only human, but my heart is yours. For a moment, silence fell between them. The station hummed softly, the stars outside their windows witnessing a moment more fragile and precious than any battle. Eyes glistened as she studied him, searching for doubt, searching for hesitation. She found none. You are brave, she whispered. Braver than anyone I have ever known, not because of what you did in battle, but because of what you are willing to risk here. She placed her hand over his chest, feeling his heartbeat. Thank you, I believe in you. That night walked back to his quarters, his mind alive with both joy and anxiety. He had faced enemies in space, yet the hardest battle had been with his own doubts. Could he truly protect her, not just from pirates, but from the weight of her destiny? Could he bridge the gap between their worlds? He thought of her smile, her soft voice, the trust she placed in him. Courage alone was not enough. He needed love, patience, and understanding. He needed to grow stronger, not just in skill, but in heart. And he would. The next morning brought news that shook the station again. A message arrived from the neighboring system. A rebellion was rising. Systems loyal to his family were in chaos. Threats were growing, and the human who had been invited into the heart of the empire now faced the reality of protecting not just one life, but thousands. Did not flinch. He knew fear, yes, but he also knew courage, the kind that came not from strength alone, but from love and conviction. He went to, finding her standing on the observation deck, wings outstretched as if preparing to soar into the stars. We must act, he said. I do not know the best way, but I will stand by you. I will learn, I will fight, and I will not let you face this alone. Turned to him, eyes shining. You have already proven yourself, not just to me, but to all of. The strength of your heart is greater than any weapon. Felt the truth of her words sink deep into him. He was just a human, fragile in the face of cosmic forces. Yet in her eyes, he was more than that. He was courage, he was trust, he was love, and that was enough to face anything. As they stood together, side by side, watching the stars and planning for the coming storm, realized something that filled him with both awe and peace. Love was the strongest power in the universe. It gave courage to the weak, hope to the fearful, and strength to those who believed in it. And with by his side, he would face the rebellion, the nobles, the enemies, and all the challenges to come. He would not falter. He would not fail. Because he had chosen her. Because she had chosen him. And together, even a human could stand among the stars.